Hi, welcome to The Shed. In this episode, we're going to talk about polyrhythms and more specifically, polymetric ratios. So this is our first polymeter. You read this as 3 against 2. And what you're doing is you're creating 3 pulses in the space of 2 existing pulses. The first number tells you what the base subdivision is. So this tells you what the subdivision is. And this tells you how many subdivisions are grouped together to give you the new pulse. So this would be our subdivision group. So this base subdivision is 3. That means the beat is being divided evenly 3 times. That is an eighth note triplet. So I'm going to draw 2 sets of eighth note triplets. Here's my eighth note triplet. The beat is being divided evenly by 3. And I am going to group them in sets of 2. So I'm going to tie every other subdivision together. If I was to write in the subdivision syllables for this, it would be 1 pull-et, 2 pull-et. And since they're tied, we're going to put these together, and these together. My foot is going to tap on 1 and 2. That's the original pulse. But I'm going to clap on 1, the et of 1, and the pull of 2. So let's perform that. 1, 2, 1 pull-et, 2 pull-et, 1 pull-et, 2 pull-et, 1 pull-et, 2 pull-et. That is a 3-2 subdivision. It can be written out another way. If I tie 2 eighth notes together, I get a quarter note. So if I tie 2 eighth note triplets together, I get 1 quarter note triplet. So this rhythm can also be written like this. This rhythm is often played incorrectly, but if you can subdivide the eighth note triplet, you can perform quarter note triplets correctly. These are the exact same thing. You are creating 3 pulses in the original space of 2. So let's do one more subdivision. Let's talk about 4 against 3. So what is the base subdivision? The base subdivision is 4. That means the beat is being divided evenly 4 times. That is a 16th note. So I'm going to draw a few sets of 16th notes here. Alright, so here's my first set of 16th notes, my second set of 16th notes, and my third set of 16th notes. Going to write in the subdivision syllables. So I have 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. Now I'm going to group them into groups of 3. So I have 1 E and a, 2 E, and a 3 E and a. If I was to rewrite out this rhythm, it would look like this. I would have a dotted eighth tied to a dotted eighth 16th. That 16th note would be tied to an eighth. That eighth would be tied to another 16th note, and then that would have a dotted eighth after it. That's what this rhythm looks like. This rhythm shows up all the time, but all you're doing is you're taking a subdivision of 4 and you're grouping it 3 times. So I have my original pulse on 1, 2, and 3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. 4 new pulses. This brings us to the last thing that we can do with these numbers. If you multiply both of these numbers together, you get how many subdivisions need to occur before the pattern repeats. So the original pulse starts on 1, and the new pulse starts on 1, but then they start to shift. After 12 subdivisions, they line up again. So, polyrhythmic ratios.